Welcome back. Now for the final steps.
We have finished all 5 petals, attached them to the buckram, put them together. It's coming together beautifully. The next thing I'm going to do is the white part here, and it's all very easy to do. It's a gather stitch. And what I'm going to be doing, I'll move this aside a little bit, is I'm going to come down with my needle and stitch, and I'm going to come down on a light curve right here and stitch all across the bottom and come back up, and then I'm going to gather it all together and then manipulate the gathering so that it's an even circle of folding. So we start here. I have white thread. Again, I'm kind of partial to being about like 1/4 of an inch in my stitches, but really it doesn't matter. The tinier your stitches, the tighter will be the gather. So that's why I kind of like 1/4 inch seems to work really well. If you have a really long piece, if you're almost like doing a ruching with it, you definitely don't want to get it too tight, like a tiny 1/8 of an inch in between each one. Okay, so I've got this all gathered up. Okay, and now I am going to pull it and gather it. It wants to kind of wrap around itself, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me one bit. Let's just keep it gathered. Sometimes you can take the 2 ends and tie the 2 together if you want. That's a choice that's entirely up to you. I like to just gather it all up and then attach the 2 together at the end from the back. So here's the first end, here's the second end, and I'm going to tack those 2 together. It's kind of like step 1. Okay, oops, get out of there. There. Okay, got it all gathered together. Tuck that back, that end piece to the back. And I'm going to lay it on the center and tack it down. Going all, let's see, I'm going to go down first because I still have to attach it to the buckram. And then when I'm coming up, probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 little tack downs, all coming around the center, making sure that I've got it tacked all the way down, all the way around. Sometimes you hit that thick spot from the where all the yellow ones kind of came together, but you just work through it. Trying to, again, kind of ace it out like where my thumb is, right there. Bring it back down. Whoop. Come up here, tack it down. There. That should pretty much do that. Then I'm going to tie a knot back here. And I'm going to then bring the orange one in and do the same technique. Okay, here is my 2.5 inch, 5/8 of an inch wide ribbon. I'm going to gather it, and then I'm also going to bring it together in from the 2 right sides together and then turn it inside out. I'm going to use the same curve, what we call a U stitch. Bring it along the bottom edge, about 1/4 of an inch with each stitch. Coming up to the top again. And bring my thread through. Now my intention here is not to gather this, but to form a circle. So in order to do that, I'm not going to make this tight. What I'm going to do is fold these 2 together and gather it just a little bit down here. I'll do kind of hand gather it more than anything else. If this is too hard for you to do, or it's not the way you want to do it, you can just glue the two seams together. Or stitch on your machine, whatever you want to do. And what I'm doing, I'm just stitching these two seams together. I'm going to tie it off. See, I just want it to be a little circle like that. And so what I'm going to do is tie this off. But not cut the thread. So I'm going to turn it inside, right side out, I guess is what I want to say, not inside out. Right side out. So the shiny side is out. Kind of reshape it a little bit, get this together. I'll trim that off a little bit in a minute. And I'm going to come back up over here. This is the bottom of it where it's gathered, and so that's where I want my needle to be. So I'm going to pull my needle through, and I'm going to bring the needle right to the center of the flower to attach the cup. And it goes right there. Okay? And then I'm just going to hold it in place while I tack it down. You can reshape it as you go. For example, right there, I want to tack that down. So I'll just push it in, run the thread through, tack it up again. I'll come up, I think, over here. Bring the thread through. I want to tack that down a little bit, so bring it down. Tack it all the way around, and then just reshape it as you go. And then you can see I've got a little piece of thread here that I just need to get rid of. No problem, it's gone. And I'll continue around. Now, if you want, you can add little stamens, I think they're called. I get them in the hobby store where the candy and cake decorations are. They usually have those little stamens that you can put in there. If not, just leave it as it is. You can see that I scrunched this one up a little bit so that it just kind of, nobody's going to really look at this and say one way or another what it is, but you can scrunch it down. Let's try doing that and see how that works. That might even be a little bit more interesting. I'm going to come back up through the center. And maybe just do a little gather. Rather than trying to make this a perfect circle, doing it this way. Get out of there. That's a little more interest to that little bell shape. And we'll come up here and do it the same thing on this side. And add a little bell shape here. Again, you can play with it and put it together any way that you want. The idea is to just make sure that you've got some pretty color there. Okay. And I'm going to play with reshaping this a little bit. I think I might bring these two together a little bit more. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, let's do this one. I like this better. You can almost play with it too much if you're not careful. So I'm going to bring this up to the center. Come back here. And I'm going to tack this down. All right, I think we're done with this. Okay, I'm going to tie this off. And I have another beautiful flowers done. I'm going to now show you where I have put these on a couple of my quilts and give you some ideas on how you can use these beautiful silk ribbon daffodils. This is a sampler of a class that I teach on making dimensional flowers with silk ribbon. Down here, you can see that we've got the daffodil. It's really beautifully nested against the bright colors with the reds and the purples and the yellows. And it's just a really wonderful way to add dimension to your artwork. Here's a smaller piece. This was a pillow that I created for Mother's Day project. And it's got 3 different flowers, but here's the daffodil that I was talking about. But I also want to show you something. The leaves were made exactly the same way as the petals were, only I used a 2-inch wide ribbon to do that. And look how easy all of that was. Now I want to show you one more quilt, but it's over on my wall here. But I wanted to show you this quilt, which is called Flowers from My Garden. And on the top row, over on the left, you can see that I've got 2 daffodils. See how easy that is to do those? So I hope this will give you some inspiration on how you can use these dimensional flowers. If you liked this video, I hope that you will subscribe. I thoroughly enjoyed making it for you, and I hope that you got something out of it. Also, when you subscribe, you really do help our channel a lot. It helps us to continue to bring to you the very best in art quilting techniques, designs, and artists. Thank you again for watching.